socks that I bought for Ian when he was probably 10 months old, somewhere around there. Socks that I made for Ian for his 19th, 20th, and 21st birthday, which I will explain shortly. So, when Ian turned 19, we were having some financial troubles, and I couldn't figure out what to do for him. So one thing I came up with, because I had the supplies, was, heavens, I just found a hole, which is very relevant to the rest of what I'm telling you. Anyhow, I just went and found scraps of sock yarn and decided to make him a pair of socks from scraps. I didn't have enough of any one color to do anything. So, scraps and stripes. And then I don't know what happened, why they didn't. I do know what happened. Then I sustained my second concussion in a year, which was classified as a traumatic brain injury, and I was severely unwell. Yeah. And I never finished them. So I wrapped up what I had, and he opened that, and I don't know what else, but so yeah, that. And then I forgot about them because I honestly do not remember a lot from that period of time, because one of the things that was affected was my memory. So I honestly just don't remember. Like I found a project that I didn't remember making until I found it, because that's just the way my brain was at that time. Anyhow, I had forgotten about them, and then for his birthday last year, his 20th birthday, I pulled them out. I remembered them. I pulled them out, but it was really like late in the game. It was almost at his birthday, and so I started working on them again. Added to them. Wrapped them up again with, this time, hold on, there was one finished sock, and the second sock was still on needles. And then I forgot about them again. For no particular reason, no good excuse this time, but I stopped knitting for quite a while this last year. Most of this last year I spent not knitting, versus knitting, which is normally the case. Right, so if I put them aside, I didn't put them back up again because I wasn't knitting, and there they stayed. And then, a month and a half, 2 months ago, I went to seek them out again, and they had been sitting in an open basket with another project and some wool, and it turns out that moths got to them. Oh, and all I had left was to graft the toe on one and work in the ends on one. Was all I had left. And it turns out that moths had gotten to them. So they went into the freezer for about 6 weeks, and then I brought them back out to see if they could be salvaged and what I could do with them. And so the last several days have been working in the ends on the one that didn't have the ends worked in, grafting the toe, and patching. So before he even has a chance to wear them, they have been patched in about 20 different places. And not only that, but the wool that was used for them was in with them and was attacked by the moths and wasn't usable. So it's not even in matching colors in some places. But I was going to say they're done, but they're not, because I just discovered another hole. But I will finish them today and give them to him tomorrow, and I suspect because of the moths that the yarn's probably very weak and they will not last very long at all. Especially because my boys, I don't know what it is about them. They must have sharp, pointy feet or something, but man, they can put holes in socks faster than you can imagine. These are some of the more visible patches. Most of them I managed to hide on the inside, but this section, it just made sense to do them on the outside. And I used some embroidery floss on that, which I was hesitant to do for most of the patches, and then I just decided to give it a go because it was close in color, and the other yarn I was using was not close in color. So Ian's long belated, absolutely embarrassing, pathetic of me as a crafter and a mother socks will at long last be on his feet and in his drawer, albeit probably for just a very short time. I was experimenting with a video I saw on YouTube for a fancy hairstyle, and it is a disaster. Oh my gosh, absolute disaster. But I'm too tired to fix it. I'm too tired to fix it, and so you will all live with looking at me. Mari and I started this cross stitch together. She did all of about 6 stitches, I think. And this was my second ever cross stitch project. We gave up quickly when we realized that she naturally crosses her stitches in the opposite direction that I do, which doesn't work very well. And I confess I left those 6 or so stitches that are backwards in. Just don't tell Kathy. It's okay. I get the joke, and at least one other person out there gets the joke, and that's enough. So this is one of Alicia Paulson's Posy Gets Cozy patterns. I think it's called Storm Warning. I used my own fabric and floss, so my colors are different than their kit, some of them anyway. Ian built the frame, of course. And don't get great hair. Let's see. Kind of better coloring. I don't know. Anyhow, blue's Mari's favorite color, so nice to add some blue to her room. And I tried to make the little girl, You can't see, but I'm showing you. It's too big. To look like her, I tried to match her hair color to the girl's hair color, and I made the dress a color of a bunch of dresses that she has had over the years. So it's a little Mari. Anyhow, that's that. This is Seraphina's gift to Mari. Trying. Maria and the Birthday Fairy. Once upon a time, there was a little girl named Maria. Her birthday was coming up soon, but she wasn't happy because she wasn't in the birthday spirit. One day, she decided to take a walk. While she was slipping on her muck boots and coat, she heard a rustling behind Serena's jacket. She looked behind it, but didn't see anything. So she finished slipping on her muck boots and jacket and set out for her walk. She stepped outside and saw the wonder of what had happened to her lawn, for everywhere there were little ice sparkles. She wondered for a minute before continuing on her walk. Halfway through her walk, she heard a rustling in a bush. She jumped into the bush, expecting to find something, but she didn't. This got her curious. So she began wondering as she walked back, looking around, expecting to see magic. When she got home, she could already smell the sweetness and the deliciousness of her cake. This year, she was going to have her favorite type of cake, lemon sponge cake with chiffon frosting. She was turning 12. Even though her birthday wasn't for another week, her mother always said that the longer the cake sits, the more sweetness and love it gets. Maria didn't really understand that, but she still let it sit. She headed upstairs to do some schoolwork, even though she didn't really like schoolwork, but she liked to know it was done, so she could play with her little sister Serena, and maybe even her big brother Gollum. They liked to play with their kittens. If it had snowed and they had good sleds, they went sledding and maybe even had races with all of their big brothers. There was Lijah and Ion. One day, Maria met a little girl that was so small that Maria couldn't believe her eyes. Maria thought she was 10 inches. They had so much fun together. They played with the little girl's cats, which were as big as her. She could even ride them. But they were normal-sized cats from Maria. They went sledding. There was an entire sled for Maria with how small that little girl was. That's my favorite. One day, the little girl said something that Maria could not believe her ears on. It was, "I am not a little girl. In fact, I am a fairy."
a birthday fairy. I was the one who rustled Serena's jacket in the bush. I have been looking for you, Maria. I've been looking for you to make you happy and in the birthday spirit. Come with me to Hillwyn." Suddenly, they were in a marvelous place. The waterfalls were silver and the flowers were ruby red. The ponds were emerald green and the birds spread fairy dust and were all colors. The smells of everything filled the air. Maria said that she couldn't describe the smells, how wonderful they were. Then, while she stood there gazing, the little birthday fairy tapped on her shoulder, and said in a wee little voice, "Come on, shall we get into the birthday spirit?" Then the little fairy said, "I now live with you. Your mother and father cannot see me or hear me and do not believe in me. So I would suggest that you don't tell them about me." Then with a sweep of the little fairy's wand, Maria was happy and excited because tomorrow was her birthday. The fairy said, "You will find me by Old Oak Tree." And with another sweep of her wand, they were back home. And Maria was excited still. The very next day, she woke up early and didn't tell her parents where she was going. She just said, "It's my birthday," and left the house. The air smelled fresh as she headed to the old oak tree. As like magic, when she stepped into the little bit of the oak tree that was hollow, she was back in Hillwyn, except in a different part, where she had never been before. When she stepped forward, she was surprised to hear cheering. The cheerers said, "Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday." Mm. Mm. Then a little fairy that she may have recognized and may have not stepped forward, wearing a beautiful ball gown and holding a yellow-green candle. She said, "This is a birthday candle that only rare people who have seen and heard and know about me receive. Very few people receive this candle, and I am giving this to you. It is a magic fairy candle called a beautiful lamp walk in heaven, because the second that you light it and the second that you blow it out, you will find yourself in a heavenly spiral walk with lots of fairies cheering." Then she handed Maria a birthday cake full of those candles. Maria smiled and said, "Thank you," and hugged the fairy. Maria said, "Come on, it's time to go back to the oak tree." The cheering started again. "Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday." As she walked out, she said, "Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone." As she returned to her house and normal life again. Her mother said, "Happy birthday," and then presented her with the most beautiful and delicious-looking lemon sponge cake with chiffon frosting that she had ever seen. They said, "It's near time that you open your presents and blow out the candles on your cake." So she filled the cake with the beautiful birthday candles that the fairies had given her. Her mother asked, "Where did you get those beautiful candles?" She didn't say from the fairies, she just said from the shop mother. She went in to where her presents were waiting. There were 3 big boxes waiting on the table. She opened one and found it was a jewelry box. She had wanted a jewelry box, and now she had one. She opened the second one, and it was a hot water bottle with a nice warm design water bottle cover. She thought she would never get something that she wanted ever since she met the little birthday fairy. She thought it would never be it. She thought it would be something that she put on her list and wanted, but wasn't that thing. Then she opened the last box. Inside was what she wanted, a beautiful replica, her word, not mine, of the birthday fairy that played Happy Birthday. She smiled and said, "This is just what I wanted." She ran to the oak tree and said, "It's a replica of you," to the little fairy who was lounging in Hilwen. The little fairy said, "Was that what you wanted, dear?" Maria replied, "Of course, because I love you." Maria hugged the little birthday fairy and they ran back home. From that day on, she always kept the little replica near her, even when she was visiting the birthday fairy's house. The end. Back page is just decorate it with glittery bits. By Serafina Violet Juliet, age 6 years old.